Good evening. Today is Monday, November 21st, 2022. This is a regular session of the Board of the School Trustees of the School City of East Chicago. The time is now 6:02 p.m. The place, School City of East Chicago Administration Building, 1401 East 144th Street, East Chicago, Indiana, 46312. This meeting is also being streamed via www.scec.k12.in.us. This is a meeting of the school board in public for the purpose of conducting the school corporation's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. First item on the agenda is a roll call. Ms. Bigham?
Trustee Rodriguez?
Present.
Trustee Gomez?
Present.
Trustee Williams?
Present.
Trustee Smith?
Present.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Present. Can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? The next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion for the approval of the agenda?
Madam President, I make a motion for approval.
Trustee Smith makes a motion for approval.
Second.
Trustee Rodriguez seconds the motion. Are there any questions? Is there any comments from the audience? I did forget, I do apologize, in regards to the agenda. Ms. Bigham?
Madam President,
Trustee Williams?
I noticed that on the personnel report that there has been some changes. Did that change just recently? From the one that we were sent earlier today, or,
Oh, yeah, there was a change on there.
okay.
Any other questions?
Madam President,
Trustee Gomez?
could we identify what changes occurred between the last personnel report and the more modified one?
He wants to know what changed.
The item that changed was we added the athletic director's position.
Is that the only change?
Yes.
Any other questions? Ms. Bigham?
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
This is for the approval of the agenda, correct?
Yes.
No.
Trustee Williams?
No,
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes. Item number 4, consent agenda. Is there a motion on the floor for consent agenda? I'm sorry, is there a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
Madam President, make a motion to approve?
Trustee Rodriguez makes a motion for approval.
Second.
Trustee Smith seconds the motion. And before I do that, are there any questions from the board, from the floor? With none being heard, now I'll go to questions from the board.
Madam President,
Trustee Gomez.
I have a few 4.05 donations, athletes for charity, and along with the SunCoke donations. Excuse me, I don't see any documentation other than from the administration. We would normally see a letter sent to the administrators and then an approval from the administrators. Is there a reason why we don't have that? The question's to the superintendent.
Yes. You're asking about the donations,
Yes.
and we do have letters. We have letters for the Harrison donation. We have the letter from Dr. Green on the donation to McKinney Elementary for 100 students for the toys donations and clothing. And then we also have the letter from the Athletes for Charity for 100 students to attend the Nutcracker with their families. Those are the only three.
Was it not
We
added?
don't have
The documentation.
Documentation from the organizations forwarding the donations to us.
Can't hear, I'm sorry.
He's saying that there's no documentation for the donations that were forwarded. So like, if there was an email or if there was a letter from these organizations to us, we didn't get it in our packet, which we usually do. We don't just get the memo saying, that these are the donations from it. So was there anything like that? I think is what he wants to know, right?
Yes, and again, I don't take care of all these. I believe that for the athletes and charity, the directors of curriculum met with the individuals to get that done. So if there was an email, it was done through them. Again, the same thing for the charity, for the,
Madam President,
Trustee Rodriguez.
I'm going to have Leela speak on this.
Ms. Simmons.
Okay, so the Athlete for Charity, there was a meeting done over the phone for the Athlete for Charity, and at that time, the director was unavailable to send a memo on her letterhead. So she sent a detailed email to our education, elementary, secondary, and that's the reason why there is only a memo from her. The other donation I'm unsure about, but I do know the details of that one, that it was a last-minute request to be put on Friday, and that's how we ended up with that one, without the letterhead officially doing it.
I'm uncomfortable voting on something I haven't seen from the donating organization. This organization has also partnered with us before, so they know the process. I'm uncomfortable with that.
So the process was actually done. An email was actually sent letting us know that there was a donation. I think I was added on there as a board president. I don't know, just to let me know that this was donated. And it was sent to Ms. Gutierrez, the superintendent, myself, and I think maybe it was you, Ms. Simmons? I'm not sure. So that's the donations from there. But the other ones I cannot speak on. I have not seen them myself, so I just wanted to try to add. And I know they did have a meeting.
are we talking about the one for the Nutcracker?
Correct.
Okay, yes, again, that one, they wanted to donate 100 tickets. They met with the elementary and secondary directors to get approval, and it was put on Friday. So I know it was rather late, but I did allow to do it because it was a good thing for our students and our families.
Are there any other questions?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
In regards to Athlete of Charity, I don't know if this is a question for you, Mr. Harris, or not, but I thought we serviced all MOUs that we had with that company. Are we back? Or did we come back and renew that MOU?
No, I think that's true, that there was an issue with a prior MOU where we're not under the terms of that MOU anymore, but it didn't preclude them from making any donations, on an individual basis. If there's some occasion that they want to provide a donation, so long as you accept it, they're still eligible to do that. But under the terms of an MOU, they would have access to students and a lot more detail under the terms of the MOU. Here is just they want to make a donation for the benefit of the children.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Madam President, following up on that, excuse me, on that comment, not having the documentation in front of us, I guess, is the problem. Without knowing what the context of the phone call was, the email, a letter, again, this organization has worked with us before. I would like to see kids go to this as well. But as a board member, I have a responsibility to vote on things that are presented to me, and what I have here is just partial information.
Any other questions? Ms. Bigum?
Madam President,
Trustee Gomez?
on personnel report, item number 3143, I'd like to ask if Mr. Mitchell can address this item.
3143.
Said item 3, excuse me,
Yes, 3143.
31143?
3143,
3143.
yes.
The very first one on the personnel report.
Oh, I'm on the second page, I apologize. Food services, okay, yeah, the food services director. We had interviews for a food services director. We staffed the committee that interviewed all those, all the people. And persons that was a part of the administration that had previous contact with anybody that was being interviewed, they were not allowed to participate in the voting of that. So we made sure that the process was clean and that there wasn't going to be any conflicts of interest. We did that. We went through the process, and then there's a scoring rubric that we do. The top scores, well, all the scores go to the superintendent, and then the superintendent will select one for a recommendation to the board. And it appears that that person, the director of food service, was selected to come before the board for hire. All of the criteria that person met for the job and meeting for the description, and we did the criminal background check as well as references check, and everything checked out fine.
Dr. Mitchell,
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fine. And so, how many people were submitted to the superintendent?
Submitted to the superintendent, I believe that there was 5 that was submitted to the superintendent. There was,
No names,
pardon?
no names.
Okay, all right, yeah. Yeah, there was 5 submitted to the superintendent. I'll tell you where they originated from. I believe 3 originated from Illinois, 2 from Indiana.
So there was a total of 5 applicants.
No, there was a total of about 10 applicants. There was 5 applications that met all criteria that were allowed to go forth for the committee interview.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Williams?
No, sir.
Any other questions?
Madam President?
Trustee Gomez?
I'm staying with Dr. Mitchell, 6117.
6117. Okay, you want the same information for that one?
Please.
Okay, at 6117, again, we had roughly, let me see, 47 applicants for the athletic director position. Out of that 47, 10 were selected for interviews. Out of the 10 that were selected for interview, all 10 went forward to the superintendent. The top 5 scores were what went forward for the recommendation to him, and then from that, he recommended the finalists to you for hire. Same process, except for this one, we, because this is a community-facing position, we chose individuals for the interview committee. They range from community leaders. We had a community leader from the nonprofit sector, an attorney, 2 professional athletes, all-star coach. We had 3 former student athletes. They were all part of that committee. And those final results, the top scoring individuals were sent to the superintendent for his selection for the best fit for the corporation.
Thank you.
And the follow-up to that would be just questions to the superintendent. Dr. Brager, you had sent the board an email previously with a different candidate than the one that's being presented on the personnel report. Can you tell me why there's a change here?
I couldn't hear the question.
He wants to know why you didn't, the previous candidate that was given to us, why there's a change.
The recommendation was given to the board, and that was put on hold, so we were going to bring it back this time. We brought it back this time. I think that the only difference is the trying to figure out which individual to move forward. The first three individuals did not live in East Chicago, so we were trying to go with, hopefully if we could, a resident from East Chicago.
Any other
Attorney
questions?
Harris, wouldn't it be discriminatory to base a decision on somebody's residency to be employed within the school city district? I believe that's in our, on our website.
So I haven't heard that the sole basis for the recommendation is residency, but for residency to be a factor in the in the recommendation process is one thing. The decision, though, wouldn't be made until the actual trustees make their decision. And I don't know what each of you individually would be basing your decision on. So no, I wouldn't say that on its face would be discriminatory.
I'd like to make a secondary motion then to remove item 6117 from the personnel report.
There's a motion on the floor to remove item 6117. Is there a second to the motion?
I second the motion.
Trustee Williams seconds the motion. So the item on the floor is to remove item 6117 from the personnel, and that is made by Mr. Gomez and seconded by Trustee Williams. And are there any questions for that motion?
Public comment.
I'm sorry, is there any public comment regarding the motion on the floor? Are there any questions?
Madam President, I
Trustee
think,
Gomez.
given the sudden change here and the comment that bothers me is that the comment that the superintendent just made about residency, while I respect Attorney Harris and his opinion, there may be other opinions from other attorneys. I'd like to give the board some time to weigh this out before we end up in a lawsuit should somebody come after us based on a discrimination issue.
Right, Trustee Gomez, I love your preface, I mean, not the preface, but I love what you're saying afterwards to just find a way to push the decision back. I know this is something that you do not want, but at the end of the day, I think the attorney stated that it's not just one item as to the reason it should be, it's probably more than just one. So with that being said, I mean, that's my opinion on it. We could just go to the vote, make this nice and quick. So, Ms. Bigham, can we please have a vote to see if the item of removing 6117 from the agenda? from the-
Sorry, Madam President, I
Trustee
do have a
Williams.
question. I know Trustee Gomez, you were questioning Dr. Mitchell in regards to the process. We did state that there is a process of hiring, something that I've been advocate about for the 4 years I've been a board member. Is it any way that we can request from the board the scoring of any one of these two positions that we are hiring for? Because I believe that at one point in time, the person that was brought to us before this person, the scores was different. And for it to be suddenly changed to a different person without the explanation of, well, with only the explanation of it was because of the residencies. I would like to see that going forward if that's possible. I've been told that the process that you put in has worked. It's kind of blind, but why are we going through committee still if the committee that's being selected is not being the ones that are not necessarily making the decisions, because we know it comes from the superintendent, but the recommendations from the committees is not being heard? What's the purpose of it?
Right, and so that's the piece of it, right? The whole piece is that the interview process is fair. At the end, the person who makes the final decision is the superintendent who makes a recommendation to you all. We just provide we make sure that everything is followed to the letter based on employment law, based on policies and all that, to make sure that it's fair, make sure that there's as limited biases are mitigated as possible up front, so that you do have a process where the superintendent can make a decision, knowing that whatever decision he makes from that point where he sits, it's going to be something that he can stand on. And so we have put that in place by going to the committee format, making sure everyone has the same questions, making sure that everyone has the same people in that same interview process, and also making sure that the candidates are not measured against one another, but against the criteria that's in the job description that's presented forth, that the persons have created their applications and their presentations when they come to the interview process. And so that's the fairness that we build in. And at the end, the superintendent still selects his team. And so I'm not quite sure. It is nice if everything just goes along, and however the scoring happens, that's the case. But sometimes, it comes to a matter of fit. And, I can't speak for anybody else, but there's still that piece that the superintendent can choose someone that fits most with his team. And that's just, I think, a general principle in HR, that not only do you hire on function, you hire on credentials, you also hire on institutional fit. And maybe that's the person that the superintendent chose that's based on institutional fit. I believe that Attorney Harris can speak to that also.
I do have a question. Can he receive the documents that he's asking for? Can we receive them?
Yes.
So, Dr. Mitchell, can you please make sure to send the group the scoring sheets like he requested?
I'll get them to you as soon as I leave here. I'll make sure.
Just email it, yeah. Thank you. Are there any other questions for the item that's on the floor to remove item 6117 from the agenda? Any more questions? Ms. Bigum, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez?
No.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
No.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
No. So now we revert back to the regular consent agenda motion with the Trustee Rodriguez and Trustee Smith with the motion. And are there any other questions from the board? Ms. Bigum?
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
No.
Trustee Williams?
No.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is 5.01, approval of substitute teacher paid daily rate, teacher daily rate of pay. Dr. Brigham.
Yes, we're looking at one item in particular, and that's just to increase the pay for retired teachers to become substitutes. Their pay would be $207.60. The reason we're trying to do this is because we want a teacher, when we have a substitute, we want a substitute who has an Indiana valid teacher's license. We want our students to get a highly qualified teacher. We don't want students to miss out on instruction, and sometimes when they have a sub who's not prepared, we suffer. And also, we want somebody with experience that can, they're going to be in a long-term role, that can prepare the lessons, has the experience to help the students, especially with the state standards. So a retired certified teacher can do all this for us.
Thank you very much. Are there any comments from the audience in regards to item 5.01? Is there a motion for approval of items 5.01?
Madam President, make a motion to approve.
Trustee Rodriguez makes a motion for approval.
Second.
Trustee Smith seconds the motion. Are there any questions? Ms. Bigum?
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
No.
Trustee Williams?
No.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes. Items 5.02, approval of notice of termination, labor relations contract. Would you like for our attorney to?
Yeah, I think I would need some help with that if Attorney Harris could help me.
Yep, no problem. So currently, there's an agreement for handling of our labor relations for the district. There has been some discussion about this among myself and several members of the board. Based upon those discussions, there was a majority of the board that thought it was in the best interest of the district to move forward with providing notice of termination of that agreement. That notice doesn't actually take any a legal effect unless and until the board takes this vote now. So the purpose of the notice having been sent out is to comply with a 60-day notice requirement. What that would do is coincide with a January 1 start date for whoever would be taking over these services. If, for example, the board does not vote to terminate the agreement, the notice has no effect, and we notify this firm that the board made a decision not to move forward with the termination. So today is the day for the board to make the actual decision in terms of moving in a different direction from providing these services.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the audience? Is there a motion for approval?
Madam President, make a motion to approve.
Trustee Rodriguez makes a motion for approval. Trustee Smith seconds the motion. Are there any questions?
Madam President,
Trustee Gomez?
this question is for the superintendent. Were you involved in this process?
I was just informed that we had to follow certain regulations of notice to be in compliance.
And is this your recommendation?
I don't think I have enough knowledge. I've only been here 2-3 months or 4 months, so I don't have knowledge of his working, how this individual has fared out in our district.
So if this company has been performing 10, 12 years with the school district, have you heard of anything? We're talking to any of your predecessors or any of the union leaders who have worked with this law firm?
Can someone help me? I didn't hear the
Have
question.
you heard any negatives about working with this law firm from either your administration, previous superintendents,
No,
or union members?
No, I have not, but I just want to make one thing that's very important. We could have a teacher that's been here 20 years and has done well, but there's nothing to say that just one item may not cause that person to do something wrong, violate a policy, and, even though they've been here 20 years. So, again, I don't have sufficient knowledge. I think the board can probably do what's right in this matter.
And this question's for Attorney Harris. You mentioned that you had discussions with members of the board. Did you have conversations with all members of the board?
I didn't, and I wasn't making a decision as to what should happen. There was a sufficient number of board members for purposes of putting it on the agenda and having the notice sent out. And I understand the process that today would be the day that you'll make a final decision, but once it was clear that a majority wanted this to happen, the notice went out, but again, that notice doesn't have any legal effect unless and until you take a vote to actually terminate it.
I understand that, but what made you not decide to contact the entire board? You're hired by the entire board, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
But once you get to that number, once you get to the majority, the direction is already there.
And you don't feel it would be important to let all board members know what the majority decided?
No, I actually was the one to let them know about the individuals and what they decided. So you're right. Once we had the majority of the board, we ended up actually moving forward. I asked them to please fill a notice, seeing as on multiple occasions, we ended up having these attorneys end up putting us in predicaments where we're spending multiple amounts of money. And I think Leela as well, and Ms. Simmons as well as Trustee Rodriguez could make mention of that. As a board, for the most part, we've all had complaints at one point in time where we continually settled items because of the fact that it was just the easier thing to do at one point in time. So this was the reason why we started discussing this previously, and that is why the decision's on the table. Any other questions? So we can move forward?
Decisions that come to the board are important to share with the entire board and not just a select few.
Sounds good.
We are, as I think you and others have said, supposed to be on the same side of the table, and we're all supposed to be a team up here. So when one person or more does not get included in that, whether it be a trustee, an attorney, or the superintendent, or the CFO, or the secretary, that is unfair. The whole purpose of us working is that we are supposed to be working together for the kids. And when we withhold information, it causes distrust amongst the group.
You are correct. I'm glad you understand being on the other
Thank
side
you.
of the table
I
from when I
appreciate you
first
saying
got
that.
here. Thank you. Any other questions? Is that your last comment, so we can move forward with the vote? Great. Ms. Bigum?
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
No.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes. Item number 5.03, approval of after-school tutoring pay increase. Dr. Abrego.
Yes, this would only be effective for after-school tutoring, and it would move the pay for teachers from $30 an hour to $40 an hour, and then for our paras from $15 to $20 an hour. Now, this is not for, again, for everything. This is only for our after-school tutoring program that will take place from November 9th through May 20th of 2023.
Is there any comments from the audience? Is there a motion for approval?
Madam President, make a motion to approve?
Trustee Rodriguez makes a motion for approval.
Second.
Trustee Smith seconds the motion. Are there any questions? Ms. Bigum?
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
No.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is the superintendent's remarks.
Yes, well, I think everyone knows that I love running, and we did have a turkey trot last Friday, a half-mile race for our students, and I'm happy to say that over 150 students covered the half-mile course. We gave out individual turkeys to the winners, first place. We gave a gift certificate for second place, and a gift certificate for third place. And our city champions, or our turkey trot winners, were in the fourth grade girls division, Kaylin Hawk from Lincoln Elementary. In the fourth grade boys division, Jakartas Bell from Lincoln. Our fifth graders, we had, our top girl was Lyric Kent from Lincoln. Our top boy was Shondell Hatcher, also from Lincoln. And our sixth grade students, the top girl was Sanaya Hunter from Lincoln, and the top runner was Randy Johnson from Washington. And the record for the half-mile run, because this is the first year, the top girl ran the half-mile in 3:31, and that was the sixth grader from Lincoln, Shania. And the top boy was a fifth grade runner who defeated the city champion. His name is Shondell Hatcher, and he covered the half-mile run in 3 minutes and 17 seconds. So thank you for all the people that helped. It was a great turnout. And our kids are champions, and they weathered the cold and the wind to run.
That was all.
That's it, yes.
Next, we'll have trustee remarks. Are there any trustee remarks?
Madam President?
Trustee Gomez?
Yeah, I think given some of the information that I've received today, I'd like to make a motion to begin the process of providing the superintendent written notice of termination of his contract. I'm making that form of motion.
There's a motion on the floor for the termination of the superintendent's written contract. Is there a second for the motion? Motion fails. Any other comments?
Madam President,
Trustee Williams?
My comment is in regards to the personnel report and the process of two administrative staffs that are being hired after today's vote. It is very disheartening to see how the process of this situation have taken place. I believe that both of these positions was up in the air at our last meeting. We supposed to discuss, I know, food services director position along with the salary scale. None of that took place. We had a special meeting on last week to get some other things done to the approval of the teacher's contract. We have not had an executive session but once since the new superintendent has been in control of our district. For 4 years, I fought for the process of hiring to be fair and to be equal. These individuals both was denied of other positions that have been applied for within our district. I don't believe that the committee chose these people, and I don't even believe that the superintendent is in agreement with these people. But I say to us as board members, we have to do better. We all state that we're here for the betterment of our students, and these two people are not for the betterment of our students. Not the betterment for our district, and I can't see them being the betterment for our community.
That's it. Any other trustee remarks?
Madam President,
Trustee Gomez.
on that note, the superintendent's been here since July 1st. We are now into the 5th month of his time with the board, and he has yet to call a meeting with the board to set specific goals for his term with us, and I find that equally disturbing. As Trustee Williams says, I agree with him that he, more specifically, Trustee Williams, has pushed for a process here for a very, very long time, and I commend him for that. I thought we were there as well, and I was happy to see Dr. Mitchell lead these two committees. I too am disappointed with the outcome. But I also want to go on record that I am equally disappointed that we have yet to meet to go over and discuss the goals for the superintendent. We're almost done with the entire first semester. And I find that disturbing that we have not yet met to do that, and that he has not pushed it on his end. That was another part of the reason for my previous motion.
We're done with your comments, correct? Trustee Gomez?
I may have another.
I know after 2, we're just going to stop because now it's just going to continuously go against the superintendent. And at the time, I'm not one to defend the superintendent also, always, but we've had plenty of times where we try to schedule executive sessions, and you've been the cause to a lot of the cancellations. So we have changed schedules multiple times. We've had some trustees come in early to try to catch a 5 o'clock meeting, but for the majority part, it's you asking to cancel or it's you asking to be online, and it's us pushing back to let you know, no, we're not going to go online because our students don't go online. So we're doing what our students do. So if I agree with you, we don't have the goals, but that's partially the fault that the schedules that we're all trying to get is we just, for some reason, can't meet. And for the majority of the part, it's yours. With that being said, I want to just end on a nice note. The other day, we had a basketball game, the girls' basketball game versus Hammond Central, and it got very bad to the point where one of the official ended up giving a technical foul to the student. 3 technical fouls in total, 1 flagrant foul that was enforced against the Hammond Central team. 2 of the technical fouls were against Hammond Central's head coach, and 2 were against Hammond Central. A flagrant technical foul for throwing a punch and a technical foul for taunting. And that game obviously became very chippy. The athletes and coaches staff from East Chicago Central High School maintained composure and control of their emotions, with the other team taunting athletes from East Chicago and even throwing a punch at one of the girls from East Chicago. Our girls walked away and concentrated on playing the basketball game. Their actions showed tremendous sportsmanship, and I'm writing the report, so this is from an official from that day, wrote the report so that they could be commended, recognized, and rewarded for their great sportsmanship and the fact that they did not their behavior did not turn into what the other team did. That's what being a team is. Now, if we have any public forum?
I do
Sorry?
have one. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, Trustee Smith, go ahead.
No.
None?
I'm just going to make a comment behind Trustee Gomez and behind you. We have been trying to have executive sessions, retreats, work sessions, but to be really honest with you, we have to work around your schedule because everybody else did try to fit all of those particular meetings in place, but because he was trying to accommodate you to make sure that you were there, that's why we're so behind. I get what you're saying, but if you're gonna throw blame, look at yourself. And you don't have to speak back. I'm not throwing any stones, I'm just letting you know. That's the reason why. It's very, very upsetting for us to put our lives on hold for a meeting, and then the next day or the next 15 minutes, we have to cancel because you can't attend or you want to Zoom. When we took this position was to pledge to be a part of the district, to be there for the district. If everything can Zoom, then we all should be able to Zoom. And unless there's an emergency, I have to agree with them. It's not, we can't move forward, continually cancel executive sessions or retreats or work sessions. So that's just my opinion.
Any public forum?
No.
The next date and time of the next meeting will be Monday, December 5th at 6 p.m. Is there a motion for adjournment?
Madam President, make a motion to adjourn?
Trustee Rodriguez makes a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Trustee Smith seconds the motion. Any questions? Oh, no. Roll call.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez-Orange?
Yes.